You're welcome. Matthew chapter 5, verse 23 and 24. We are continuing with our talk on 7 steps that are critical in resolving conflict. Therefore, if you bring your gift to the altar and there remember that your brother is something against you, leave your gift there before the altar and go your way. First, be reconciled to your brother and then come and offer your gift. What does that say to you? Resolving conflict with your brother is more important than church, is more important than worship. It's more important than anything you can ever think about. In other words, that verse, Matthew chapter 5 and verse 23, says to you and I, you cannot be right with God and wrong with people. Solving and resolving conflict, it's one of the critical things that you and I have never been taught. I wish I knew this before I got married. I wish I knew this before I got into ministry. Ladies and gentlemen, the key to a successful Christian life, it is tethered to Matthew 5 and verse 23. Jesus says, before you continue with church service, leave the church and go and be reconciled to your brother or to your sister. How are we doing? These are 7 steps in resolving a conflict. Step number 1, make the first move. If reconciliation with my brother and my sister is more important than going to church, is more important than my worshiping, is more important than if it is more important than speaking in tongues, I dare say, if I want to live my life freely and effectively, I need to make sure I deal with the first things first. Who is it? Do we have something against? Who is it that has hurt you? Make the first move is what I want to recommend to you. But you say, no, Josh, you don't understand. They did this to me. They are the ones that must come to me. Listen to me. James 4 verse 1 already has answered that for you. Where do wars and conflicts come from? He says, from the selfishness within you. At the center of every conflict, I can tell you 2 things that are ruling there. It's pride, your ego, and selfishness. But run with us. Make the first move. When I'm reading that verse, verse 23, says, therefore, if you bring your gift to the altar, and then you remember that your brother is something against you, that doesn't seem as if it's like you are the one that was in the wrong. It says, when you are coming to the house of God and you get into church and say, I'm supposed to go and fix this thing with my brother. You don't wait for them to come to you because they did this to you. You know, we like to be justified. That's selfishness right there. So I want to give you that as point number 1. Make the first move.